With the NFL regular season coming to a close, the question on everyone's mind is who's going to be the league's most valuable player. There are three names that are currently in the race for the award: Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. In this video, we'll be talking about who really deserves the award and why. So let's get into it. Firstly, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is arguably the best quarterback in the league right now. He's put on a clinic this season with more passing yards than anyone else. Not just by a small gap either. The Kansas City quarterback has gone clear of the rest by over 400 yards. Mahomes leads the league in terms of passing touchdowns as well, with 37. His numbers are amazing, and he's the most probable winner for a reason. Mahomes has had a perfect season with almost no weakness throughout. There is one though, the fact that he wasn't able to beat Cincinnati or Buffalo. In both big games, Mahomes was shut down to some extent. He was barely there in the game against Cincinnati, throwing 223 yards and one touchdown as the Chiefs slumped to defeat. It was a similar story against Buffalo, as Mahomes had two passes intercepted in the defeat. This is probably the only thing that could sway people's mind for the MVP voting. The 2018 MVP has had a stellar season, putting up insane numbers. That's been enough for him to be regarded as the deserving candidate, but we never know in this sport. It's still very possible for one of his competitors to step up right at the end of the season. If the Chiefs were to suffer a bad loss in the final stretch, it could be the turning point for someone else. Moving on, Josh Allen has been stellar. Josh Allen has had a fantastic season, and his inclusion in at least the top three isn't surprising at all. The Buffalo Bills quarterback might not have had as many passing yards as Patrick Mahomes, but he's still third when it comes to passing touchdowns. He's been instrumental for the Bills and has done it all without much help. The 26-year-old quarterback has been performing at the highest level throughout the season, even leading the Bills to win against Mahomes' Chiefs. In the game against Kansas, Allen managed to throw for 329 and score 3 touchdowns. That's no small feat, as Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have been tearing teams up all season. Allen has put a great effort into his MVP run and deserves to be in the conversation. Even at this late period of the season, Josh Allen still has a chance to pull a rabbit out of the hat and win the award. If some of the other candidates were to slip up during the end of the season and Allen was able to put up a blistering performance, he could very well sway voters in his favor. Since Thurman Thomas won in the early 90s, Allen would become the first Bills player to win the award. It's going to be a very tough ask of Allen to try and overtake Mahomes, but it's still realistic enough that he could really go for it. The Bills' best player has been playing his heart out this season, and it's good to see him earning his flowers. Next up, let's take a look at Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes is leading the league in passing yards by quite a bit, but behind him is Joe Burrow, and his numbers aren't a joke. He's also number 2 for touchdowns this season. Burrow has had an amazing season with the Cincinnati Bengals and has earned himself a spot in the conversation for MVP. He led his Bengals team to an impressive win over the New England Patriots, throwing 375 yards and scoring 3 touchdowns back in Week 16. Burrow has had several games scoring multiple touchdowns through the air, 4 of them coming consecutively. Suffice it to say, Burrow has had an insane season from all angles, putting up insane passing stats and boasting a great touchdown record. He's had passing percentages of above 69% in several games as well. It feels like we're kind of beating a dead horse by saying this again and again, but a turn of events is possible even this late into the season. As is the case with the other 2 candidates, Burrow could definitely sway voters if he manages to put up some insane numbers again, while the others falter. No matter who eventually wins the award, the 3 players in contention have had amazing seasons, taking their teams to the top of the game. Coming up, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes is an NFL matchup fans love to drum up. Both quarterbacks are in the form of their lives and have faced each other several times, and both are in the MVP race. The general consensus for people is that Mahomes is better, simply because he has better passing stats. On paper, the game isn't played on paper though, and Josh Allen has a lot of attributes that set him apart from his competition. Mahomes and Allen are 2 of the best young quarterbacks in the game right now. In fact, forget being the best young QBs, the 2 of them are the best in the sport, period. That said, you could make an argument for both players when it comes to a matchup between the 2. It honestly relies more on where your loyalty lies, to be honest. Both players have their distinct qualities and attributes. Mahomes has boasted superior stats compared to Allen, but that has a lot to do with Mahomes getting much better coaching early on in his career. Compared to Allen, Patrick began his career as a far more polished passer. The 2 have very different backgrounds in the sport. Moving on, how else do they differ? As we mentioned, Mahomes Mahomes had the opportunity to be under the wing of a couple of NFL legends as he started off his career. He learned from one of the best in his rookie season in the NFL, Alex Smith. That's right, three-time Pro Bowl quarterback Alex Smith. His dad was a former Major League Baseball player, so it must be far easier for Patrick to get some good experience early on. Being the son of a prominent athlete, Allen had no such background in his career. Yes, the fact that Josh Allen is an NFL superstar right now obviously shows that he did the right things, but he did it all the hard way. He was transferred from Ridley Jr. to Wyoming, which is a small school by professional standards. Mahomes, on the other hand, had several scholarship offers and ended up settling for Texas Tech. It's pretty obvious that Mahomes was able to be at least a little ahead of the class at every step of his come-up. That's an advantage that Josh Allen never had the luxury of. The amount of effort that Patrick Mahomes has put into becoming the player that he is today can't ever be doubted. However, he did have a little bit of a head start, and that's what makes Josh Allen's career all the more impressive. Getting to Josh Allen's level without any head starts is a feat in itself. Up next, Josh Allen has never had proper support. The biggest and most valid argument in support of Mahomes has always been the start of his career versus the start of Allen's. When you look at the stats, it's obvious that Mahomes became a superstar right in his rookie year. Josh Allen took a lot longer to get started going, but it's with reason. If you look a little deeper into the game, you'll see the difference in both players' teams. Patrick Mahomes was surrounded by NFL veterans like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, and Kareem Hunt, so he had a lot of people to learn from. It was obvious in the way the Chiefs played as well, with a stellar team overall. Josh Allen had a very different start to his life in the NFL. He had nowhere near that amount of talent surrounding him, and he was in a team with a defensive-minded coach in Sean McDermott. Given the circumstances, we can easily say that Josh Allen wasn't in the position to be able to make the numbers he is now. When the Buffalo Bills brought in positive changes to their roster in 2010, that's when Josh Allen got to shine for the first time. He's been getting better and better with every passing season, and that's how he landed himself in the race for the MVP award this season. On top of that, he doesn't seem like he's going to slow down anytime soon. Allen's rocky start to life in the big leagues has only made his performances this season even more impressive. He's gone from being one of the best young stars to being one of the best players, period. Finally, football isn't played on paper. We've said it throughout this video, and we'll say it again right at the end. You can't judge a player solely based on stats. At the end of the day, you need to watch how a player plays through his career to really determine his impact on the game. Yes, Patrick Mahomes has had an amazing career, but it can't be argued that he's better than Allen based on stats alone. Josh Allen is criminally underrated as a passer, and it's because his stats don't stack up to Mahomes. Josh Allen isn't even far off from Mahomes in his stats, coming in second place to only Mahomes usually. Josh Allen provides a lot more than just touchdowns and passing yards. He was his team's lead man in rushing yards as well, which is pretty odd considering he had the most passing yards as well. All things considered, both players are going to end their careers as legends of the sport. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes look pretty set to dominate the NFL for a good number of years, as they're both pretty young. Only time will tell who turns out on top of the debate at the end of the day, but we can say that Josh Allen is very underrated and definitely deserves more praise. That's all for this video. Who do you think will be the NFL's MVP this season? Be sure to leave a comment if you enjoyed it, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe to stay tuned to more content just like this. We'll see you in the next one.